ke a le leboga badimo ebile ke motlotlo ka dithuso le dikeletso tsa go nkgontsha go ka tlhaloganya semelo sa me. Open hearts, open minds, great spirit will look to find a pilgrim's journey is told. A new beauty unfolds. Spirit in the wind, love is the cord that binds us.
I'm so happy that you could join me for this episode of Pilgrim. And I'm particularly happy because I'm feeling a little bit nervous for this episode. I'll be exploring the use of another plant medicine, and this time it is the IBOGA plant. Now, IBOGA is a particularly challenging and demanding teacher plant. And it is so because the journey itself lasts up to 24 hours, sometimes 36 hours. This is going to be possibly one of the most difficult journeys I've taken so far. Shortly after arriving at the beautiful IBOGA ceremony venue in Stanford, I settled in, then took the opportunity to sit quietly and journal, reflecting a little bit on the promise of the weekend, but mostly trying to keep myself from freaking out about taking IBOGA. So it came as a big relief to be invited to join my hosts to set up the altar. Sai, who would be serving the medicine, is a Tantra Dakin and runs IBOGA retreats, and his partner La is a Sangoma. Of course, I had to bring my heels to the altar. I am, after all, the pilgrim in heels. The heels.
IBOGA's the medicine of connection, right? The root bark. And so it's really helping you to connect to your truth, to your essence. And it's giving you that grounded rootedness. I know who I am and I know what I'm doing.
There's something that lands in me even as you say those words. Can you share what the origin of its use?
It was used as a sacrament within Bwiti, which is a religion. And a couple of different tribes practice Bwiti in Gabon. In Bwiti, they were using another plant sacrament, but then when they encountered the Pygmy people, they were given the IBOGA from the Pygmies, the forest people who live in those jungles of Central Africa. They use IBOGA very differently. So when I was in Gabon, and I was explaining that I'd been working with the wood for so long in such big doses, but completely outside of Bwiti, the guys were like, wow, how do you work with it? I said, well, I just eat it and I let it teach me and talk to me. They're like, whoa, like a pygmy.
Oh.
You know, because they work very much in the tradition of this initiation lineage of Bwiti. It kind of came to consciousness outside of Gabon through Westerners, colonists really. One of the first significant people to take it outside of Gabon was a man called Howard Lotsof. And they're working with extracts, ibogaine, which is the extract from IBOGA. And he found this was an amazing cure for addiction, for opiate addiction. And it became then used in the underground for that for a long time. In Gabon, they give it to people who need to know their path in life, to kind of show you the way. And often people come to IBOGA at this transitional moment. It's like this moment when they're moving from one thing into the other. And the wood really just helps you clear the way forward for where you're going and calling in the energy of the next thing.
Gosh. I mean, that's exactly what's happening right now for me and with me is I am at that stage in my life where I feel that need for, okay, how do I live my life in harmony with the reason I decided to incarnate, and all the previous incarnations I've had. So I feel already met that is how it is served, and this is the purpose for which it is used in its place of origin.
Ladies and above.
Oh, it was exciting to hold the medicine in my hand. Iboga is often referred to as the wood, and the taking of it in ceremony as the flood. Sai and La make a powerful couple, both bringing a long list of healing modalities with them. I was in safe and seasoned hands.
What's great for working with wood, and in the tradition up in Gabon as well, I believe, they do a lot of cleaning before the actual flood. To clean as much of the ancestral stuff as possible, to clear the diet out, you know, as much as possible, because it just means then the wood doesn't have to do that part. And that's a part that I'm very good at.
Yes.
At speaking to the ancestral fields, cleaning it, clearing it, reharmonizing, negotiating, getting everyone to stand in their right places and to support you, you know? And your freedom. Ancestors from Makgati, ancestors of my own and of this land, we are calling to you to come present.
What is the skill that you have and the training that you've undergone?
There are many different things in my medicine basket that culminate in this now, who you're meeting now. The one that I've gained the greatest skills and tools with, speaking specifically to ancestors, is in Sangoma. I initiated, I think now 4 years ago, and then the story went further to the tuning forks. Your main job throughout this process is to discharge. When I was initiated into that, then ancestors were very happy there, and they were talking inside me, and they said, hey, we haven't had tools to work with like this since ancient Egypt, you know. They're very strong. You can move large amounts of shattered energy from inside the trauma field of one's own personal life experience and also ancestral field very quickly.
There's pain there.
So it's really about resonance and finding that resonance.
Yeah.
And once that is aligned, I guess then, you know, the body or the differences fall away or they become immaterial.
It's like being able to hear the song of all the different things and then concert it together into a harmonious sound, you know. And so if there's something dissonant there and that one is not working in harmony to serve this being that we are in agreement to serve, or this purpose, then we can speak to that.
There's a lot of swelling around the base chakra. Body work, energy work like this always makes me feel very cold, first of all. But I'm feeling all this energy. I can feel my energy fields are just circling and opening. This is big preparation for this work. This is the work, and it's also preparation for even bigger work.
A pilgrim's journey is told. A pilgrim's journey is told.
After the tuning forks, we had a simple meal of soup made with chia seeds and other superfoods to help sustain our energy for the long journey ahead. So this is going to make sure that I don't have too much food in my system, particularly for the Iboga journey tonight. Because if I have too much food in my system, that's bad news.
started serving in 2013, and I love the dual meaning of serving. I'm not doing a lot. In fact, the less that I do, often the deeper it goes. So really, Dr. IBOGA-'s flying the plane, and I'm the air hostess. So I'm the one who keeps you comfortable, calms you down when there's a bit of turbulence, you know, takes away your bucket or whatever, and just looks after, just holding that space, really.
We're here together with Makgati now. We all added our prayers to the blend of herbs that La was brewing for my cleansing steam, or futa, with me asking the medicine to clear the path for my journey with Iboga and to give me strength and courage to meet every lesson presented by this doctor.
So we're going to be asking you also to open your voice and speak to the plants and speak to your ancestors, and this is what I want to move, and this is why I'm doing this. So it's like setting intentions before a ceremony.
I mean, I've experienced steaming the futa, if you call it by the name that I grew up with. And the way my mother would do it, she would throw some river stones, big river stones, into the fire and let them heat up. And then slowly she would bring in the one stone and put into the medicine. Into the pot. And we would scream, and she would say, "Shh, you're supposed to be saying prayers, not scream." Say your prayers. And it was one of my least favorite things to experience as a child. And here we are.
Yeah, a little bit different this time.
Yeah. Yes, my mother was uncompromising.
Yeah, yeah.
The sacrament is that which takes us outside of ourselves. So to get out of ourselves, having something which can come in, which can really just turn the whole world around, is a tremendous way to find freedom.
You're speaking exactly the words I've been speaking past couple of weeks, maybe months, but it's become even more crystallized recently in the sense of what are the things that I have allowed to program an identity into me, and it's actually got nothing to do with me. And going into, you know, along that journey of deprogramming, of disbelieving everything so that I can get to the substance of who I really am. It wants me to come as I am. That's it. And here. Hallelujah.
I was stripped bare, defenses cast aside as I stood naked, facing myself.
It's some kind of armoring, right? Because it's not just safe to just be. So we create an identity, a psyche, right? And then we wear that. And then we think it's us. Like we think our mind is us. But the mind's not. The mind's the servant of the being. So it's not that we have to become anything or do anything. We just have to get rid of that which we've added to the perfection that was always there.
I later warmed myself at the fire, listening for its counsel, transfixed by its dancing flames. The anticipation was killing me.
Buddy,
Body,
would you like to eat a burger?
would you like to eat a burger?
Oh, well, that's a relief. Okay, no, sorry, go. Try again next month.
Sai used kinesiology, the art of muscle testing, to determine my Iboga dose.
Buddy,
Would you like 1 gram or more?
Would you like 1 gram or more? Oh, somebody's pushing me. So
It's amazing, huh? Body, would you like 2 grams or more?
Body, would you like 2 grams or more?
Yes. Okay.
Body, would you like 9 grams or more? Body, would you like 10 grams or more? Body, would you like 13 grams or more?
Okay.
I'm so tempted to ask, is 12 a lot? Is 12 regular? Is 12 medium?
12 is a very respectable dose.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
What the wood shows me is that my high, convoluted spiritual ideas about getting out there, they're not really the purpose of this existence in this form, this realm, you know? The wood is like, well, are these ideas making you a better lover? Are they making you a kinder person? Are they making you happier, you know? And so it's very much like come back down, get your feet on the ground, and start fixing your life. It shows us all the stuff we've hidden in the cupboard, stuffed away, and don't want to look at. But it does it with great gentleness.
Sure, that feels like a big promise, to be able to see stuff that has been hidden forever and ever.
So Iboga is really more of, I mean, the word they're using is onarogen rather than entheogen or psychedelic. And that's because it's like a very much a waking dream state. So normally we access our unconscious, but we're asleep. So, you know, it's like fragmented. And so now this is a way of accessing the unconscious while being awake.
Do you know how to fill capsules?
But I can learn.
You work over the container.
I can tell you've done this before.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
A pilgrim's journey is told. A pilgrim's journey is told.
What can I expect?
You're going to be progressively taken deeper and deeper into that unconscious. You know, and at times you're going to not want to go and you're going to be afraid, and then it's going to pause and it's going to wait, and there's going to be resistance which comes up, which is the ego structures, which is the conditioning, which is the programming. You know, and so where the resistance is where the wood starts to feel like pressure. It's not actually pressure. The pressure is coming from you holding on, right? And then when you can let go and release, then it goes a layer deeper. You're going to meet your resistance. You're going to meet the part of yourself that you gave up on, that didn't feel safe to be here in this world, the part you put away for one day. Now it's one day. And with the assistance of the wood, all of those things which didn't feel safe to be here can come and be here. Because you suddenly realize, I'm held. I'm held by existence. I'm held by this planet. I'm held by my family of blood. I'm held by my beloved friends. So La and I are here to help you when you hit resistance, When something feels challenging, we're here. So we can give you some ideas, we can play some music for you, we can sing a mantra, we can blow some smoke. We can just sit with you and hold your hand, you know, and just be like, it's okay. It's okay. You know, it's okay to let go.
Thank you. Do I lie down? Do I do whatever? Just as I was settling back into bed, Sai told me not to because first we had to dance. Oh, I was relieved to finally be able to retire back to bed and surrender to the journey that Dr. Iboga was about to take me on.
Iboga also has this sort of holding in it. So it's like we can see ourselves, we can see our kak with love,
Okay.
right? You know, rather than being completely terrified by it or resisting it. And also it kind of like waits for permission. So it'll be right here and you'll be going, no, 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 I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it. It's like, okay, it's fine, we don't have to go there. How about now? No, 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 don't want to do it. Okay, okay, that's great, fine. How about now? I think why the Iboga journey is so long, because it wants to get into, you know, like the little cracks, you know, in the, you know, between the tiles in the shower. It wants to clean them out with the toothbrush. It wants to go into all those places where we don't normally go. So it's got a lot of time to be really thorough and work its way through and go, okay, and, you know, there's this, and what about this? Let's take care of that. And, yeah, to really see ourselves.
When you were saying that it helps you see yourself, but it does it with love,
Yeah.
is so profound. Precisely because, I mean, that stuff has fallen into the unconscious because it's assumed such a fearsome nature. It's it's become, that's so much shadow stuff that I can't even welcome it. And to hear that the Iboga actually will patiently say, let's look through.
And that's partly why Iboga has this reputation, this fearsome reputation, because people are like, whoa. And then also you tend to work with these big doses because it is about an initiation.
Time for my second dose, and I hated it. I purged the minute it went down my throat. I later learned that, like me, Sai had been concerned that I wouldn't have enough Iboga in my system and that this may impact the quality of my journey. But he reassured me and promptly prepared more medicine in a few different forms, and luckily these weren't required.
Bekanzi maha bekanzi, redza samuga te soha. Beata om bekanzi, bekanzi maha bekanzi, redza samuga te soha. Beata om bekanzi.
The part that I wasn't able to do without the help of Iboga has been the primal trauma stuff. For me, my journey has been a lot about that. You know, I knew for years that something went down. I had some visions and some dreams. I couldn't join the dots. But it really only started for me when Sai put me on the floor with Iboga, which was last year. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was the most magnificent thing I've ever done also. With me, the wood stays with me for a long time. When I was coming out during those 4 days, then I had access to my whole feeling body for the first time in my life. I could feel touch, like properly. I could feel everything. It was amazing. I had the most incredible orgasmic experiences and bliss and just everything. Feeling is the most incredible thing. I never knew. What IBOGA did is showed me actually what it is to be me. With all of my facility intact, with all of me present, you know. And then I had to walk the path, and I am still walking the path of actualizing that in everyday life.
IBOGA is this amazing medicine for the mind, you know, and it's very lucid. You can be in the depths of your journey, and we will have a very clear conversation. You're here. Yeah. You're not somewhere else. Right. And it works with clearing out the receptor sites in the brain. In Bwiti, with this big dose, they talk about the veil of perception between this world and the other world can fall. And so you can see your ancestors, you can see non-physical things which are in the space. It can do that.
The vision started with me standing in front of my family home in Mamelodi, as if I was really there. I thought, there must be some work to be done here. And immediately, a massive wall appeared in front of me, obstructing my entire view. I said, "Wall, I'm here to do some work, and I need you to move, please." But it didn't shift. "Wall, I'm going to karate kick you out of the way," I threatened, proceeding with my mighty kick. But I fell backward, and wall remained. I tried coaxing it away, but that didn't work. Only after I acknowledged the wall, saying, "Thank you for protecting me through life's struggles," and assuring it of my readiness to heal, did it move out of the way. Immediately, I was presented with many versions of little Makgati with sad, sad eyes. I saw my young self in many unsafe spaces, and as the adult, kept snatching her away and holding her to my bosom to comfort her. After saving the young me a number of times, the face of my little self appeared once more, this time with a smile on her face.
Tell me when you're ready.
Oh, I'd better be, because there's more to see.
Okay. Baby bird.
Totally.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Almost finished.
Oh, okay.
There's maybe one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so you're doing amazing.
It's unbelievable. This Dr. IBOGA, what I'm being shown, and I'm being shown like I'm looking into a mirror. Sometimes I have to say, Makgati, this isn't a film you're watching. This is your story. Wake up. And that's exactly the thing. Because it's all in 3D and it's me. Gobsmacked, as they say. I am profoundly humbled by this. Yeah. Okay, now off you go.
Africa has so much to offer the world. You know, in many ways, you know, people think that Africa needs the rest of the world for all the economic offerings. But it's not true. The world needs Africa to come learn how to come back to the roots, to be simpler, to be more grounded, to be more real. And I think the medicines are a big part of that. You know, as the medicines start to go out, and this African medicine, that is IBOGA.
How pretty this is.
On the morning of the second day, La woke me up with a beautiful arrangement of fresh fruit and edible flowers. This care took my breath away. But as tempting as it all looked, I only managed to slowly suck on one piece of fruit. Then I laid back in bed and continued journeying for the rest of the day.
Stretch your body. Okay. Wow.
It was time to stretch my body, but I didn't want to. I was still straddling another realm, and besides, my head hurt horribly.
Hello, tree. Yo, did you see me yesterday? Naked there under you.
I needed some air, and as I walked around, I was feeling a particular kinship with nature, as if we shared one source. And of course we do. Then we had some soup, but my appetite had not returned. After a few mouthfuls, all I wanted to do was get back into bed.
There's still visions coming. So it looks like the story's not done yet. When I close my eyes, things come. But it's good. Well, it's good in that it shows you. And some of the things are not so pleasurable to see. So I want to see what's there. I'm very tired. My head is pounding. It weighs 300 kilograms. But I've danced and that was nice. I've had some soup. That's very nice. And I'm sleeping under the window. You can't get any better than that.
The heels came off the altar, and I donned them for a celebratory dance. It felt good to feel myself come back into my body and to be more steady on my feet, with the photograph of my parents held close to my bosom.
So we're coming now to the end of the ceremony, but it's opening up into a bigger ceremony, which is, you know, life lived as ceremony, you know, life lived as art. And the wood is going to still be working with you.
My experience this entire weekend, absolutely phenomenal and magnificent and astonishing and deep and rich and boundless. Oh, actually, I saw me as I am today just come up. And there I was. And then I was like myself. And I was laughing and I was smiling and I thought, oh, you're quite spunky, you know? You're a vibe, as the young people say. And I just leaned over and I said, you know, I love you. And I gave her a kiss. And she was there, I was there, and I was there. So it feels like I've come to meet myself, actually. The connection I feel right now is unbelievable. This was more than profound. This was more than timely. I have no words.
Thank you, Dr. IBOGA.
Thank you.
Was this worth it? Oh my gosh. Like you cannot believe. It's horrible taking the iboga root or the bark of the root. It's absolutely distasteful. And throughout me ingesting it, it was really hard. But now that I'm here, at the end of it, I would do it again. But not yet. I still have this to digest and to integrate.
A pilgrim's journey is told. A pilgrim's journey is told.
Good morning, Makgati.
Good morning, sir.
Lovely to see you again. So, I'm very curious to know what has been unfolding for you, especially since your journey with Iboga.
There's a quietness about me. Throughout this personal healing work, I kept having images of a battle between light and dark. And I think I got it that at some point in a previous life, I must have been meditating in some caves up in the Himalayas. And the dark forces then took this light being and pushed her into one of the caves, and then took a big stone door and shoved it in front of the cave and locked up the light being. And as I shouted, "No, no, no," I saw the light being find an opening, and then it got taken up by these tentacles of light that just took it up. So light always prevailed.
When this light beam went through the little cracks in the cave door, what happened with you?
I was part of that light being.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that comes to mind in association is the famous story in Western philosophy of Plato's cave, with this, which is also a story of being in the dark in the cave and not realizing there is light.
Yeah.
And then someone takes the courageous step of turning away from the illusory images on the cave wall and goes towards the light, initially, which is blinding, but then that we get used to it. So there's this, it is a pervasive theme, both in our individual and collective psyches, of this dance, if you will, between the dark and the shadow and the light. So it feels like there's this migration from deeply personal, historical, to more in the domain we might call transpersonal.
I kept being shown aspects of me in other lifetimes. I saw myself with a family, other genders, and there was this white man that showed up. And I thought, oh, I wonder who that man is. And then he morphed into a woman, another white person. I was thinking, why am I being shown all these white people? And then I understood, oh, this is me when I was in white bodies in different lifetimes. I have aspects of those inside of me right now. Therefore, who am I really? Is the me that I am really only defined by this skin? Absolutely not. So my ancestors are not only these people that are represented by the people that stand behind me in my bloodline. My ancestors are also those people in other lifetimes too. So this whole thing of our division, it blows it out of the water completely. It means then that when I look at you, Simon, you are me, I am you. We are one, we share the same origin. So when I looked right back, the origin was being at one with divinity. That's our only true source of what makes us who we are today.
Even if one doesn't believe in past lives per se, we all are have a kind of collectivism, if you will, as human beings, just from a point of view of DNA and genetics. So whatever view one takes on it, it's not as simple as my bloodline or who I am now. There are all these relations and relationships and stretching back to the origin, which seems to be what you're pointing towards, this ancient sense of origin.
And here's something else that happened, which I think will speak to what you're asking me. I kept seeing a car tire, and then it started moving, and it was moving into the, towards the right. And then I thought, oh, it's moving into the future. Oh, it's the wheel of life. And then another one came, and then it was moving backwards. And I thought, oh, it's moving into the past. The two came together, and they settled right in the center, as if to say, this is the only time that is real. It is the present. So everything that has ever been is right here. Everything that will ever be is right here. It's
Which
in the
for
now.
a mind simply is virtually impossible to get until one's perspective is opened somehow. That there's an idea of the past and the future. It's cognitive, it's mentalized, and so forth.
Yeah.
And it's interesting if we just link that with how you feel now at the beginning of this discussion is stillness. And so you talk about your journey moving in from personal to transpersonal. It also moves from temporal to transtemporal, from time to beyond time. Not no time, not negation of time, but that the idea of time morphs at that point. I was listening to a talk by Alan Watts, the philosopher, and he says, you learn to groove with the now.
Ooh, I like that.
So the
Yeah.
tires are moving,
Yeah.
but then you just start grooving with the now, the capital N now, not a little wedge between past and future. That's the huge difference, is the past and the future are emerging as mental ideas in this now, which is also profoundly connected to the origin.
Exactly. Profoundly connected to us. It's us.
It's us.
It's
yeah.
all contained. We are all contained within one another.
Another paradox. Through the body. And through a change in the body, in a part of
Yeah.
the body called the brain,
Yeah.
which can open up that portal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're describing is a deep realization of Ubuntu. Not as a concept, as a nice vision, as an idea, but it's a deep truth known on the inside as true. So I'm curious if we just take a slightly different view, how might this medicine be working with people, especially who have very, very intense addiction?
The value, I think, is around revealing what is ailing the person in the first place, what holds the wound, and then also presenting the opportunity to heal the wound at that level.
The treatment with IBOGA, it seems that there's not only a psychological healing process, but also a negation of the physiological withdrawal, which seems because the molecular structure of the compound itself works on the opiate receptor for some reason. This is an incredible TED talk about addiction. They came to the conclusion, which is quite fascinating, that the root cause of addiction is feeling disconnected. It seems that if we link this with your sacred medicine journeys elsewhere, or previously discussed, that seems to be a thread that runs through.
My feeling of being disconnected from divinity, I mean, that's what this has always been about. It comes down to that split, that seeming split, that actually isn't even true.
The fall from the Garden of Eden is symbolic of that separation and is a necessary one in order to kind of make the choice to return, which is really another way of coming back into relationship with yourself, with your inner child, with your adult, with your purpose, with other people, with your ancestry, with your lineage, with me, with everyone, and nature.
Yeah.
To return to your own nature. And it's all happening now, which is really where, where we come to is the whole point of these medicines is how am I in relationship with now? And so this is the everyday practice.
Yes.
Whether it's the breath or the body or sensation or feeling or interaction or eating or moving or shopping, it's all happening now.
Open hearts, open minds, great spirit will look to find a pilgrim's journey is told. A new beauty unfolds. Spirit in the wind, love is the chord